Okay, so all right, so we're trying to understand what a database is. So let's say you are in, okay, let's take telecoms industry for example. So we all use mobile phones. There is a place our transactions go to. You make recharges, you use data for browsing, you buy data, you make calls, you send text messages, you receive text messages. All of these don't just disappear into the cloud. All of these informations are stored in a place. And the place these informations are stored is called a database. You can call it a data warehouse where all these informations are stored. So bringing out these informations, analyzing, interacting with these informations, where interacting with the location these informations are stored and bringing it out to use those informations as a tool to interact with the customer is where the database management system comes in. So a database management system or a database management solution or tool is what you use to interact between the database and the user. But there's also a language that the database speaks. Like I'm talking with you now, we are speaking English. That is our language. So the same way we have a language, we have the language that the database speaks. So that brings us to, so now we have an understanding that there's a language, there's a database, there's a tool that connects the database, there's a tool that connects the database or the data warehouse to the data analyst that want to analyze the data. Okay? And there's a language the data analyst is going to speak to the database through the database management system to get out this information, to now communicate it in English or in human language to the user. So say for example, you are using phone, say you are using a mobile phone, you make calls, and then you notice that sometimes you make some calls, or okay, good, very good example, when your airtime is low, when you have like 50 naira or 45 naira left in your account, MTN will send you a text message that you should borrow credits or recharge. That is a good example of the database architecture. So before MTN sends you text message to borrow credits or recharge, a lot of things has gone in the background. Your information has been stored in the database in the call records that, okay, this person's airtime is 40 naira, or the person that your airtime is low. Okay, then from the call records, from the database, the borrow me credit systems also sees it that, oh, this person is eligible to borrow credit. There has been an interaction between the call records and the more credits data, more credits solution. So that has been, a lot of interaction has gone on in the background, but it's so swift that, like, it's so fast between the time your credit gets to that level and the time you get a text message is like seconds. So it's so swift, it's like a prompt, but a lot has gone on in the background. There has been a lot of interactions in the background. So it's not like somewhere you just get a text message. A lot has happened. The database has seen that, okay, the system has seen that, okay, this person's credit is low, okay, is eligible to borrow 100 naira. That's the reason why if you now say you want to borrow credit, if you try to borrow 1,000 naira and you are not eligible to borrow 1,000 naira, you get a decline or error response. So that scenario is a good explanation of what goes on in the database management system. Okay, so types of, okay, the data stored in the database can be modified, retrieved, deleted, and can be any of numbers, images, strings. Okay, so when we say string, you can use like a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, say, did this person make call? Yes, no. So those things can be stored as strings. Numbers like your account number, your phone number, or the number of times you call in a day, and all of that. Then alphabets, you can store alphabets in the database, like your name, address, your location, gender, all of those can be stored as alphabets. So there are different ways you can store data in the database, and you can easily do modification to the database from time to time to suit the purpose. So the truth is, if you set up a business today and you set up a database for the system today, by next year, things have changed, technology has evolved, business requirements has evolved, customer needs have evolved. So evolution of all these evolutions contribute to determines what you have in your database. So today you might be storing customer information as, okay, first name and last name, but tomorrow evolution, government rules, anything can happen, and they will say, okay, every customer now you must include their third name like a middle name. Then you now have to make modification. Now have to modify the database to capture first name, second name, and last name. So all those kind of modifications from time to time, when business requires these modifications to make all the necessary adjustments, and then you can retrieve information, you can delete and replace, and all of that. So types of database management systems. Are we following? Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So so there are four main types of, good morning. Okay, so there are four main types of database management systems. We have the hierarchical DBMS, relational DBMS, network DBMS, object-oriented DBMS. But the one we use most of the time is the relational DBMS. So from hierarchical DBMS, it's type of DBMS that has a style of processor-successor type of relationship. It has a structure, it's like a tree structure where one node presents records and then it goes forth to the branches. Then the relational database uses structure. It allows user access in the database. Then network DBMS supports many-to-many relation. So then we have the object-oriented DBMS. So relational database is what we use most in analytics. People in core network engineering, they use the network DBMS. So there's a part of engineering that is core network. So in core network, they use the network DBMS. But for analytics, majorly, what we use is the relational database. So then that now brings us to, let's now go fully into MySQL. So MySQL is a relational database management system. It works on many platforms. It's a multi-user access, and it is open source. But if you want to take it higher, you can purchase a license, but it is available, it is open source. But there are other types of relational database management system. We have Oracle SQL, we have PostgreSQL. All of these are relational database management. Oracle SQL and PostgreSQL are not open source, but MySQL is open source. That's why it looks like it's the most common, because it's open source. All you need to do is connect your database, and then Just log in, your username, password, then generate a PIN or so, and then you are good to go. But for Oracle SQL, you need to purchase a license from Oracle before you can even use it. And it comes in versions. It's the version you purchase that you will have. You can't purchase version 1 and go and use version 2. So for the purpose of this class, we'll be using Oracle SQL, not MySQL. The reason is because presently I am not connected to MySQL, but I'm going to show you what MySQL looks like, what Oracle SQL looks like. But okay, so I will show you what Oracle SQL looks like and what MySQL looks like. So let's come to the second slide. So the second slide now say, okay, what's the difference between Oracle SQL and MySQL? The major difference is that Oracle SQL is not open source, MySQL is open source. That is the major difference. They are both relational database. They both provide multi-user access. So they do basically almost the same thing, but the major difference is Oracle SQL is not open source. And they speak the same language. And the language of relational database, of this relational databases, is SQL. So that brings us to SQL. What is SQL? SQL is structured query language. That is the language the databases speak. That is the language you use to bring out, to extract data from the data. There are other languages that you can use. There's Python, there's R, but what we are dealing with now is SQL. So structured query language is the core of a relational database. It's used for accessing and managing the database. By using SQL, you can add, update, delete rows, retrieve subsets of information. You can do a whole lot of things. Okay, and in structured query language like SQL, there are different types of languages. So at the end of the day, by the time you start using SQL fully, all these languages, everything now becomes one. You just use it. By the time you become a pro, like Daniel. By the time you become a pro, like Daniel is, all these things, you won't even know the difference between the DDL and DML because you've already used it. So all these ones are just big names. By the time you start using it fully, all of these things, everything is just like Lagos State. Everywhere in Lagos has entered one another. You can't say, okay, this is the Ikeja, this is this. So everywhere is just like that. So everything, all the languages, you use them interchangeably. You can use grant with select. You can use update. You can use insert with select, and all of that. So then that now brings us to, okay, different types of SQL languages. We have the DDL, that's data definition language, which allows you to perform various operations on database like create, alter, delete. We have the DML. DML allows you to manipulate data. For data manipulation, you want to update a table, you want to retrieve data from a table, you want to delete, you want to insert, and all of that. So it helps you to manipulate the table. Then we have the data control language. The data control language enables you to control access to the database because you don't want to leave your database open-ended for anybody to just come in and use. You want to have control over it. You want to only give access to who you want to give access to. And whoever you have given access to and you say that the person is not using it the right way or is abusing the privilege, you want to revoke the access. You understand? So then we also have transaction control language. The transaction control language allows you to deal with transaction of the database. So you want to, okay, so what that one does is, okay, example is commit, rollback, save point. So what that is, commit is like you're working on Excel and then you save. Like you say Control S. And rollback is like you say Control Y. Like what you've done, you want to undo, like undo and redo. You get? So that's what the commit rollback looks like. So I'm going to show you all of these things. I'm going to show you all of these things, but I just want you to have a background understanding of what they are. And then, so how is MySQL, Oracle SQL, how are they different from SQL? The only difference is Oracle SQL, MySQL, their databases, their DBMS, their database management solutions, while SQL is the language they understand. You understand? So MySQL is open source, like I said before. All major relational database management support SQL. You can transfer all skills you have gained with SQL from one database to another. So SQL is not just a language spoken by only Oracle SQL or MySQL. Other databases also speaks SQL language. So all programs written in are portable, like you can move further. So maybe what you just need to do is just put a column or a semicolon, and then you are good to go using it on another database. So if you write any query in SQL, I would encourage you that you should keep them, because you never can tell when it will be useful again. You can switch to another database, and it is that same language, the same SQL that the database speaks. You don't want to start writing over and over and over again. So before we go on to, so the next one is SQL data types, so that we establish the types of data, the data types on SQL before we go fully into databases management and then into speaking the SQL proper. So before we go into that, any question first? Any question, please. Don't let me do the talking alone. Please ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Hello?
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, is someone talking? Okay, sorry, I don't know. I just wanted to throw more light on the difference between SQL and MySQL. I saw it at the end, but I just couldn't comprehend it quickly.
Okay. So SQL is the language spoken by MySQL. MySQL or Oracle SQL, they are database management systems. So they are tools, but the language, the tools, the database systems speak is the SQL language. So SQL is a language, just like we have human language, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, English. That's the way we have database language. So the language, the MySQL is a database management system, so it's like a solution. And the language the solution speaks and understand is the SQL. So if you have MySQL and you speak another language that MySQL does not understand, so there are other languages. Python is also a language, R is a language. If you are using R Studio, you can speak R. If you go and speak SQL in R, it will not work. Okay? If you write R query into MySQL, it will not work because it is not the language they understand. Do you get? So SQL is the language MySQL understands. So SQL is a language, MySQL is the database management system. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do. Thank you very much. Thank you. I understand it now.
Are you guys there?
I was about asking the same question, so I'm here.
Okay. I think maybe she's having network issues.
Ubet, please, what question did you ask? I didn't hear your question.
Hello?
Please.
Okay, she's back.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. Welcome back.
So sorry for that break. It was my network went off. Okay, so did you get my...
Yes, ma, we got your explanation.
Hello? Hello?
I think there's some network.
We can hear
issues
you,
there.
Ma. We can hear you, Ma.
Okay, so did you get the difference now?
Yes, ma, we did. Thank you very much. We did get the difference.
Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? I can
Yes, ma'am.
SQL and my own.
Okay, I just want to ask, is there any
Okay,
correlation
hold
between...
on.
So,
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we can hear now. We can
Okay,
hear you now.
thank you. Apologies for that. Apologies. All right, so
Yeah, someone was about
okay, so let's go. Okay, go on.
Okay, I want to ask, is there any correlation between Hadoop and SQL?
Okay. Okay, so Adobe data system. If the data is not big, like running hundreds of gigabytes, you might not want to use it for data that is not big. So Hadoop is a big data system, but correlation between Hadoop and SQL, I am not sure. I am not sure of that. I'm not sure of that. But I'll confirm that. I'll confirm that and let you know. Okay. Hello?
Okay, well, thank you very much, ma'am.
Can you hear me? All right. So, okay, so let's go into, let me stop. Okay, no, I'm not sharing again. Okay, hold on. So let me open it and then I'll disconnect. I hope disconnect.
Sorry, ma'am. Am I still recording?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, the recording is still on.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, hold on. So can you see my screen now?
Not yet, ma.
Victor, yes, I should.
We can see your screen now.
Hello?
We can see your screen now. I can see the screen now.
This, okay, so can you see welcome to my SQL workbench?
No, ma'am.
I think she's okay. Okay, yes, you can see.
Yeah, we can see it now, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this
Live and
is
clear.
this is the MySQL Workbench interface. So it's a user interface for MySQL. You can create, you can design, you can connect to your schemas, you can do all your database analytics here. So how does this work? We are not going to use it, but I just want to show you what it looks like. So assuming we're going to use it, so we first need to connect to a database, okay? So we'll connect it to a server. Let me click connect to database so that you see what the requirements are. So if I want to connect, assuming I want to start using my SQL for my analytics work, I'll come here, connect to database, input the connection model, include the host name, the criteria, and all of that for the database I want to connect to. But I'm not using that. But I want to show you, okay, let's say I want to open recent. So what I just opened now is SQL language. So my SQL workbench is connected to the database. If I run this language, if I run this script, it's going to work perfectly. So this same script, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it on Oracle SQL. So this is what Oracle SQL looks like. So this Oracle SQL is connected to the database. Now, if you look at, can you see Oracle SQL now? Hello?
Yeah, supposedly we can.
Okay, good. So if you look at the top left corner, you'll see search for Oracle. You see Octave add, then the username, the password. So this is because this is connected to the database. Okay, so this is connected to the database. So we are going to be using Oracle SQL. So this is the SQL language that I copied on my SQL. I'm going to run it here as well so that you can see that at the end of the day, Oracle SQL, okay, let me connect. Oracle SQL, MySQL, they speak the same language. So you can use the same SQL language across different databases with little or no adjustment. It is the language that the database understands. Okay, this one says table does not exist. FCMB customer CX. Okay, hold on. Okay, account CX. Okay. So this table wasn't created. Okay, so I want to run something from this script. It is one for here. Hold on. I just want it is the same language everyone speaks. Good. So let's do this. Okay, so this is a table copied. So it's the same language that SQL and Oracle SQL is the same language they speak. So now we're going to creating databases. So like this one now, like this FCMB master sheet that you're looking at is also a form of a database because it's a table that stores data. So we are going to go into how to do these creations next. But before that, I want us to go through the data types because understanding these data types will help us understand the parameter we need when to have at the back of our mind when we are creating database and when we are using SQL. I don't know why my network is not cooperating today. That is what a database is. So these are also examples. So these ones, if you see, you'll see I put tables. The file I open now is stored as tables. So those are some of our data tables that we have stored on the system that we use for our day-to-day transaction analysis. So that is what SQL look like. That's what Oracle SQL look like and what my SQL look like. Any question, please? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello, ma.
We can hear you. You can go ahead. We can hear you. You can
Yes,
go
we
ahead.
can hear you, ma.
Okay, any question on Oracle SQL, MySQL?
Yes, ma,
Anything
please.
you see
Is
you want to be clear about?
data warehouse the same as database, ma?
Okay, so yes, a database, a data warehouse is the same thing, but there's a little. So a data warehouse stores the raw data. Like, let me say, as you are making calls on your phone, where your call logs go to in the raw form is the data warehouse. But now the database is more strict. A database is more structured. Okay, a database is more structured. Is like a simpler form of data. Let's say your call records, for example, your call records classes, so that data is going to relate. Hello?
Yes, ma.
Okay, so that's going to relate to what you've known already. That's why I keep using call records. So your call record, like say you call somebody in the morning. Let's say you've called about 10 people today. All these call records go to a place. Okay, so there's a place the numbers you call go to. There's another place your conversations go to. So all those collection of all those data in your structured raw form as it's coming from your phone, it goes to a data warehouse. So it is now a database that will say, okay, from this all this informations, what do I need? So what I now need is, okay, data warehouse. I want to create a database of customers. I want to create a database of customers' call records. Creating the database of customer call record now, I'm not going to take everything in the data warehouse. I'm not going to replicate it just the way it is because it is in the raw form. So I'm going to clean up the information. I'm going to clean up the data. So let's say as the call record is coming, it comes with the type of phone you use, the meaning to use, the call details and everything. So I can now say, okay, for this my database, all I need is the number the person called and the time of call and the duration of the call. So I'll create that in a database that contains customers' call records. From that raw data again, I can now create another database that says, okay, what type of phone was the person using when the person made the call? So that one will not be a database that captures the device of the customer. So I can now say, okay, I want to create another database that contains the location. So the location, the person call, okay, so this call was made from Lagos Island. Okay, the second call was made from Ikeja. The third call was made in or the fifth call was made in Yaba. So that will be another database that captures, okay, the call numbers and the location. Do you understand? So databases are like subsets, a more structured form of the data warehouse. So let's say I want to do an analysis that only shows me, okay, these are the numbers that were called and the location. It will not be okay for me to go and pick from the raw data to do my analysis. Rather, I will first pick from the raw data, create it in a database, then use the database for the analysis, because data warehouses are always very large. But in a situation where you have Hadoop, okay, you might want to give that a try because Hadoop is very fast. You understand? But it is best to create a database from the data warehouse and then use the database for your analysis. I don't know if that is clear.
Yes, ma'am. Very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's go into data types. So we're going to be spending a whole lot of time in the data types. Can you still see my screen? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Not yet. Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, so data types. There are different types of data types used in SQL. So the first one is numeric data types. We have numeric data types. So numeric data types stores numbers. So stores numbers as integers or as whole numbers, as decimal values. So basically, the numeric data type stores numbers. So we have BIT, we have integers, INT, we have big integers, we have numeric P, numeric S, we have decimals, we have money. So all this are stored formats. So I'm going to show you something briefly where, okay, let's go on. Let's go on. When we get to creating databases, we'll talk about that. Okay, so these data types. So there are different applications, different places to use data type. When you want to create a database, you need to understand the data type, the information you want to put in the database is. So let's say, for example, you want to put in a date. You don't want to store a date. You don't want to create a date as an integer or as numbers. So date is a data type. Number is a data type. So in a situation where you're using, okay, so let's say you want to create a data type or a database that has customer name, customer phone number, date of activation, okay, then you now have like customer identification number, and then you now have something like okay, so we have customer identification number, we have customer name. So let's say customer identification number takes the form of a matric number. You know the way matric number is, it has both numbers and numeric values. Then we have customer name, we have date, we have phone numbers. So you don't want to store customer identification number as an integer. Okay, so because of the kind of informations that will be contained in the data set, in each columns of data, you need to understand the type of data types that will suit and will work best for each of the columns you want to create in the database. Okay, so there are columns that hello. Hello.
We can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. So Now back to our data types. So we have bit, an integer, which can either be 1, 0, or null. So in a situation where you have, where you want to say yes or no, you can use it as 1 or 0, 0 yes, 1 no, and all of that. So instead of saying yes or no, you can use it as an integer, 0 or 1. So we have tiny integer, we have small integers, then we have integer itself, we have big integers. All this allows for whole numbers. But the difference between them, the tiny integer, the small integer, the big integer, if you look at the range and the storage type, so the kind of data you're working on, if you know you're going to have, if you know you're having that with a big data, let me use that, then you don't want to use tiny integer. So you look at the storage and the capacity, like the size you're looking at plus the storage and the data you want to load is what would determine the type of integers you're going to use. Then numeric and decimal. Numeric allows numeric values where P is precision value and S is scale value. You use this more when you're creating procedures. When you're creating procedures, you use all these values to declare. You use this numeric, you use the decimal to declare your variables when you're creating columns. So the one you use also, if you look at it, you look at the range and the storage. Those informations are very important. So you need to have it at the back of your mind that when you are creating a database and you are declaring your data types, you have to match the right data type to the right column. If you want to create a database that has date and you did not declare the date as date, whatever you put in it will return error because it is not in that format. Beyond that, we have money, we have small. Also, that depends size. Look at from and so the storage capacity 4 bytes, 8 bytes. Then we have the float end and then the real. All these are also used when you are declaring variables in creating processes. Then the next data type is the character string data type. Character string data type allows for fixed and variable length characters. So an example is text. So this character string data type, you'll be using this a whole lot in almost every database. So the numeric data types, most of them you use them mostly when you're creating processes, when you're creating procedures and functions. But the character string data type, every database you're creating, you need to declare in the columns of each of the database. So you're saying you're declaring a text. If you create a column as a text variable, you need to keep running it as text. If you did not run it as text, it will return errors. Okay, then we also have the text allows a variable length character string, 2 gigabytes of text data, 4 bytes plus 4 numbers of characters. Then we have VACA max, we have VACA 2. VACA max and VACA 2, they are almost the same thing. The difference is the maximum size. Then we have the character itself, character string, 8,000 characters, has defined width. Then we have NVACA, we have NText. So the NVACA and the NText, they're like the variables which, so those ones, they are allowed for fixed Unicode strings, they are allowed for length Unicode strings, and also hear me, please? Hello?
So
Yes, ma.
we can hear you. You were disconnected.
Hello, can you? Hello, so I figured the network went off. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that defines the character string data types. Then we have the binary data types. The binary data types allows for fixed and variable lengths of binary data. Then lastly, we have the date and time data types. Hello?
Yes, ma.
Okay, so lastly, we have the date and time data types. So this allows different formats of date and time. So the date and time data types, so for date, it stores date in the format year, month, and days. Then for time, we store time in the format hours, minutes, seconds. We have date time, so that one stores both date and time. We have date time 2, stores both date and time with accuracy of 100 nanoseconds. So the difference between the date time 2, small date time is the accuracy level. So date time has accuracy level of 3.3 milliseconds. Date time 2 has accuracy level of 100 nanoseconds. And small date time has accuracy level of 1 minute. So because we want more accuracy, most of the time you'll be using date time or date alone or time, but you need to know that there are also different, there's also what is called date time 2 and small date time. But most of the time you'll be using date time 2 and timestamp. So, and the reason is because of the accuracy level. The date time is the most accurate, and we want our information to be as accurate as possible. So then we have date time offset, the same as date time 2 with the addition of time zone offset. The timestamp stores a unique number which gets updated every time. Okay, so
Yes, ma. Sorry, I have a question.
all right.
Yes, you said date time is the most accurate. If date time is the most accurate, why do people sometimes use the other types like the timestamp?
Okay, so date time and timestamp are different things. Okay, so this is it. When you're using date time has both the date and the time. So let's say you have date 1st of January 2020 and the time 11:59 p.m. That's the time. But timestamp will come in the format 1st of January 2020. The timestamp, the time on it will now be hours, minutes, say 11:59. Then it now goes ahead to carry the seconds. Date time does not carry the seconds. But timestamp carries the seconds of the time. So you need to know which, if your data is, and you create your data table as date time, the data will not enter. When you try to insert the data into the database because of the format. So let me show you this. And I'll put it there that to see the format of these data parameters on Oracle. On any Oracle you are using, run this. Is a standard Oracle query. So if you want to know, and because it also differs, the time zone you are as well also determines, especially when you are running parameters for date time, for date time timestamp, you need to know the format it would on your site. Copy this and run it in Oracle SQL. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, I'm trying to reconnect back. So I want to run that query so you'll be able to see what the format is on the version of Oracle SQL that I am using. So in order to save yourself a whole lot of stress while creating database, it's best to just check and see what works for your system, what works for the Oracle version you are using, and create the table in that format. So I'm going to run that now, and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay. I actually have the output somewhere, but I want you to see how it is done. Okay, so this is it. Can you see my Oracle SQL? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see it, but your cursor is not moving. So I want to find out if you're doing anything on your SQL.
Pardon?
I can't see.
I said we can
exactly
see it,
what
but is your cursor okay? Your cursor is moving now. Okay, I get you.
Okay, so this is the query. Is also in this document. I'm going to share this document with you today. Okay, I'm going to share it with you. Okay, maybe not today, maybe somewhere along the line I'm going to share with you. Okay, so but this is the query. So it's best you run it when you open your DBMS, run the SQL query to see the parameters and the values that it is. So the language is American English. Then the currency is dollars, but you can convert it to Naira to work on your system. Or if you are not creating a database in Naira or in dollar, you don't need to do anything about that. So, but the most important one that we need is, so we need the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, that's what it uses. Then the date format is day, month, and year. Then the date language is also American, that's why you have a date, month, year. So then the sort binary, then the time format. The time format is hours, minutes, seconds, microseconds. Then timestamp. Okay, the timestamp is date, month, year, hours, minutes, seconds, and then the microseconds. Then the timestamp CZ format, date, month, year, and so those are the things. So these parameters is very important. You check them, you know them, so that will guide in creating your database. So let's create one database. Let's try and create one database and see the applications of declaring these data types. So let's say I want to create a database. Whose name should I use and create database? Let me use Henry. I've not heard Henry's voice today. So let me use Henry. So we want to create Henry.
Well, I've been talking since now.
So let me use Henry. So it's not case sensitive, but sometimes I just like to use caps, but it's not case sensitive. You can use caps, you can use small letters. So let's say Henry graduate training, Henry grad. Okay, so let's say I want to create that. So What are the parameters I want to put? I want to put, say I want to put name. I want name, or let me say customer name. Customer name. So I want to put phone number. I want to put phone number. I want to put customer ID. I want to put customer ID. Okay, say I want to put dates. Then I want to put location. Okay, so date is date. Date is date. So say I want to put customer location. I want to put customer location. For customer location. So what kind of information do I have in? So let's say, okay, what kind of information do I have in customer name? So because I'm not sure if the customer name is purely alphabet, or maybe some customer can come and say their name is Daniel O1. Okay, so because I'm not sure of that, say I'm getting data from an unstructured form. I don't even know what the format is. Let's say I'm getting data from the internet, and somebody's Twitter name is King O1. I want that name. There's no way I would know. So it's best to just be on the safe side, create it as variable character. So variable character would take care of if it is a variable or if it is an alphabet character. So if you have numbers, if you have alphabet, it takes care of it. The phone number also take care. So let's create this and see. So this, we're going to go into this more in more detail later. Okay, we're going to go into this more detailed. Next class, we're going to do this fully, creating a database. But I just want you to see how you declare all these variables. Date is date, then location. Location, let's do VACA as well because we are not sure. Some locations can be Ikeja, zone 1, or Ikeja, zone A. You understand? Okay, so now the length. So this bracket is the length of the character you want to declare. You know the length, the maximum size, the minimum size. Where is it? Okay, VACA, we talked about 8,000 characters. So if you declare the character as 10 and the customer name is longer than 10, it will trim it. Okay, a number that you know, the phone number can, let's say phone number. Okay, so customer ID, let's say we know that customer is, or like account number is 10 digits. Okay, it's 10 digits. We want to create it as 10 digits. Then the customer location, let's say down maybe 50. At the time it picks the Ikeja, picks Takunwojo, it picks all of that. So let's say 50. Then let's create this. So you see how the parameters increasing this This date. Except on the timestamp, then you now, instead of date, you say missing parenthesis. Oh, why? What is missing? Just missing. So date is always date. If I want to do timestamp, I won't put date. I was what's missing now. Okay. I'm coming, let me rename it as okay, time in, that one as dates. Okay. Kilon Shelley. I don't understand. Okay.
The comma after customer ID.
Oh,
And
thank
date.
you. Okay. So because I put brackets in the date, you saw that it came out with invalid data type. I didn't put comma here again. Okay, so we are good. So you can see table created. So date is date. If I want to do timestamp, let's say the timing I want to use is in timestamp format, like it's not just dates. Then instead of date, I'll say timestamp. It says timestamp, it runs as well. Timestamp is timestamp. Time date is time date. Date is date. But for other ones, you need to declare the length of the data of the variables you are declaring. So we've created Henry grad. Let's see what is in Henry grad. There's no data in Henry grad, but the database is created. So the next thing is to insert data from the database, the big database, into these our data tables. But let's see what it looks like. So it's created, but I want to show you something here. After creating the table, you can actually check your parameters once again before you start loading data into it, to be sure that you've actually done the right thing. Okay, so we have customer ID. So this is the row numbers. Okay, which one is the first on the column? The customer name is the first. The phone number is the second. Takes the second column. So I call this up with function F4. So with F4, just put your cursor on the table you've created, on the data table you've created, and press S4. You call this up, and then you can check and be sure that your data type is well defined. Okay, so that way you know that your database, your data table is ready and you're good to go. But we'll go into this in more details by next class. So today is just to introduce us to what we'll be doing, what SQL is, the language, to give us a background check of the language, the SQL language, and to give us an understanding of what MySQL is, Oracle SQL is, and then to show us what we'll be doing going forward. So we'll be using the Oracle SQL to write the SQL, to learn the SQL language and how to create databases. We'll be learning, okay, what is select, what is from, because I know because what is create, what is all of that. So we'll be learning, we'll be going into details of that by next class. So please ask your questions, Wrap it up for today.
Hello, ma. Yeah, I have a question, ma. Um, I noticed that most 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 data analysts work at organizations. Most times they use Microsoft's Server SQL, or they use PostgreSQL, or like you are using Oracle SQL too, and most times don't use MySQL. I want to ask, why is that? Hello? I hope I'm not the only one here. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you know.
We can hear you. We can hear you. It's
Yeah,
still,
hello guys.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, relating to the question that was asked earlier on, I think the main reason would be for security purpose. I mean, if you are comfortable with one database, I mean that's probably why they would rather go for Oracle or PostgreSQL. I mean, it's majorly security. You know, when it's data, you have to be more security conscious. So I guess that's why you would have to choose. You will have to go for those ones you mentioned. And I'm not saying MySQL isn't. I mean, the security, but then I think the security because it's not that most people use. Oh, better.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So someone asked why most data analytics firm and all use Oracle, PostgreSQL, and they tend not to use MySQL that much.
Yeah, so like you said, it's for data security. You don't want to leave your database or your data warehouse at the mercy of us. Because hackers are also hacking data. You only know what you are doing. You don't know what the next person is doing. You don't even know the integrity of on and then we happen to in database pick customers' data and scam a lot of customers. You don't want to be at that risk. Okay. So the data security level of my SQL being an open source tool is not too good. So for data security, you want to have the maximum security for your database, for your organization, because if your organization data leaks, trust me, you will lose your client when the client knows that their data is not safe with you. You don't want to lose clients, you don't want to lose money, you don't want hackers to prey on the fact that you don't want to spend money to acquire a more secured software. So my SQL is good if you are doing just one of or you are using for personal learning, yes. But for companies, organizations where you deal with customers, you have people's information, you don't want to leave their data at the mercy of hackers. Because if you leave it, it is, they will cry on it. So for maximum security, it's best to purchase a more licensed software to use. Did that clarify your question?
Okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So any more questions before we call it a day this morning?
Okay, I think I have another question again. Just the same way
Alright.
you brought out the NPL NL session parameters that we could see, NLS session parameters to see
Okay.
variables. Is it possible to also get that kind of help solution for characters and for integers? Especially for characters, because I think a lot of time you usually forget. I usually forget.
Characters, like for data type. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. For data types. For data types.
Okay, hold on. Let me check. Let me check. Okay, so just the way I called out the format for NLS, like can I call out the characters, the number of characters for each parameter as well? Is that it?
Yes, something like that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've not called out the characters before, but I will look out for it and I'll let you know by the next class. I'll give you that by the next class. If it's available, I'll give it. So I'll just note it down, but I've not personally used it before.
Okay.
And I've not had any reason to use it before.
Yes, I think I understand. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So thank you everybody for today's class. Thank you, Kola. Thank you for being available.
Hello.
Okay, Emmanuel is here.
Good afternoon. Good
Good
morning, ma.
afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning. So the question the guy asked last time was asking about chat. This chat.
Pardon?
The guy that asked the last question was asking about chat, using chat as a data type.
Did anybody ask using char as a data type?
Is that one of the guy asked last time? The last person that asked question.
Is it me? No, what I asked was
Yes.
what I asked was the way she called out NLS session parameters, where I could see the data and data type and the parameters for a data type, or input like that. Is it possible for me to call it out for? She did that for date, time, and the rest. Talking about dates and time. Is it possible to do that for characters and for numeric data type? For numeric data type or character data type? That was my question.
Yeah, I wasn't really following the class, but I can't really get your question. But I think she's going to get back to you, Sha. I was thinking you are asking if we can use the chat and advance chat. All right, no problem, Sha. Lydio, are we done with the class now?
Okay, thank you very much.
Emmanuel, sorry, what was the question about? If I'm just tripping.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yes, we are. Thank you very much. See you next week. Have a blessed week.
Bye. Thank you for the class.
Bye.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Bye.